Welcome to episode 1 of Birds and Blues. I am your host, Daniel Mason.
I hear the thunder in the distance now, yeah, it's getting loud. It's the beating of 1,000 hearts in the scattered crowd.
Good day, hockey fans, and welcome to Birds and Blues, a fan's perspective into the Springfield Thunderbirds sprinkled with a little St. Louis blues. As a heads up, I am not an insider. I do not have connections within the organization. All opinions expressed in this show are mine and may not reflect the opinions of many, any, or all. I welcome comments of a respectful nature, whether you agree or disagree with me. I will take the time to respond to as many as I can. Distasteful or disrespectful comments will not be deleted, however, they will be ignored. All viewers are asked to respect each other. Today we're going to take a dive into the 2025-2026 Thunderbird season and end it with what fans can look forward to for next season. We'll look into key moments of the season, key moments for this busy offseason, and what you may be able to see next season. First, we want to talk to you about today's sponsor, W Energy. W is designed to increase focus and attention while deleting crashes and jitters. W is packed with vitamins and minerals and not packed with sugars, dyes, or fillers. For full energy and fantastic flavor, visit w.gg and enter coupon code CODEBREAKER for 10% off your order. Try W today and be better. The 2025-2026 season was a roller coaster of emotions. Highs and lows, loads of cheering, and way too many boos. It was a difficult season to watch. Up till December, they had only scored 46 goals while giving up a total of 69. Our defense seemed lost, and players seemed to be out of place. The season started with Coach Connor Walchuk behind the bench. In the previous season, he led the Thunderbirds to a 2 games over 500 record and a playoff berth, even though there was a quick exit. Coming into the next season, there was high expectations for the team. After a slow start of 13-18-4-2, unfortunately, Steve Konowalchuk was relieved of his duties, and on September 19th, we were introduced to Steve Ott from the St. Louis Blues. The loss of Konowalchuk, contrary to popular opinion, was not due to him coaching better. I believe it was due to a lot of different things. The Thunderbirds seemed lost by the new system implemented by the St. Louis coach. They were constantly out of position and looked almost lost on the ice. Even though Coach K was unable to make adjustments this season, the system seemed to fail more than the players. When Steve Ott walked in, things didn't seem to improve right away. Even though he won 8 out of his first 15 games, there was a lot of one and dones. The team started to produce and had win streaks later on at 4, 5, and even more games. Sprinkled on the fact that the Hartford Wolfpack and Lehigh Valley Phantoms were fighting for us for the final playoff spot. April 15th, after a 7-1 decisive victory, the Thunderbirds made the playoffs. The playoffs were definitely a magical run. After being blown out in Game 1 versus the Charlotte Checkers, the Cardiac Kids came out to play. Game 2 was a decisive 5-2 win, and in the final game, Game 3, Julien Gauthier scored the game-winning goal at the 14:50 mark of overtime to clinch the series against the Checkers. Next up, the Providence Bruins. The Baby Bees are always a tough play for our boys, but not as one-sided as some people would think. Even though the Thunderbirds only won 6 of the 16 matches, 3 of those losses were brought into overtime. One of those wins, Springfield, ended a mighty 12-game winning streak by the top team in the league. This series was definitely physical. There were injuries on both sides of the puck for both of the teams. The Thunderbirds left the Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence, taking away their home ice advantage by splitting the 2 games and heading back to the Thunderdome. The games at the Thunderdome crept into overtime, and Zach Dean and Dylan Dubé scored overtime winners in back-to-back games to help the Thunderbirds make history. What history do you ask? This was the largest point differential for an upset in AHL playoff history. Since 1938, no team had ever overcome the gap that the Thunderbirds had, where the Bruins had 38 more points in the regular season than the Thunderbirds did. After defeating Goliath, the second-best team in the conference was next. The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins were on the docket. The Penguins had an amazing season and great talent to boot. Again, the Birds split the first 2 games, then split the next 2 games at the Mass Mutual Center, and then Game 5. That's when the magic dissipated in a disappointing 8-1 loss. The boys played hard and fizzled out near the end. Our so-called fans, though, were saying that they were quitters, saying that they slept through the game, and claiming they never showed up. The thing to remember out of all of that, it's simple. The Penguins, for the first time in the whole series, legitimately looked like the second best team in the whole division. They played like a 100-point team. The kids never quit. They were never out of the game. Luck and magic will only last so long. No need to hang your head or insult our players. Applaud them. Cheer them. And let's move on. That's what real fans would do. The addition of Ott was definitely welcoming to this team, but we also had some key losses over the course of the season. Early in the season, Nikita Alexandrov was traded to the Los Angeles Kings for Akil Thomas. The trade seemed rough at the beginning due to Thomas's injury. When healthy, he was an integral part of the power play and a solid center. The other trade, which caused a lot of heads to be scratched, was Matt Luff to the Islanders for Julien Gauthier. Gauthier didn't play a lot, and outside of his overtime winner versus the Charlotte Checkers, he wasn't really part of much. 7 points in 18 games was all he could muster. The final trade was Captain Matt Pekka to the Syracuse Crunch for Wyatt Newpower. In 20 games, Newpower just scored 2 points and even got ejected in his first game. The trade made little sense, and it didn't get the return that they thought it would be. Pekka's the all-time leading getter in Birds history, and even though if he was on the last year of his deal, he probably would have stayed. Newpower is a decent defenseman, but on an AHL deal, he was a rental till the end of the year. With all that being said, the season was a roller coaster to say the least. We saw a lot of these players throughout the year. You see what they're made of, and you see them move closer to their potential. A full season of Steve Ott could be what the doctor ordered to get them to the next level. Is it, though? Up to St. Louis to keep feeding us that talent, though. It is their responsibility. Let me know in the comments what your take on this season was and what you could have done different. Now that the draft is over, the blitz of free agency is over, let's see what the team may look like next season. The St. Louis Blues have already re-signed Zach Dean, Dylan Peterson, Dylan Dubé, Georgi Romanov, and Will Cranley. All those players have earned their time, and maybe Dubé will even earn a roster spot up in St. Louis. Departing from our beloved Springfield Thunderbirds are Hugh McGing, Julien Gauthier, Thomas Bordeleau, Akil Thomas, Wyatt Newpower, Vadim Sharenko, Leo Luth, Anthony Kerr, and Hunter Skinner. All these players will be missed, and maybe we'll get to see them again in the near future. McGing has signed an AHL deal with the Wilkes-Barre Grand Penguins. Julien Gauthier, Thomas Bordeleau, Vadim Sharenko, and Wyatt Newpower are all free agents. Akil Thomas signed with Vancouver Canucks. Hunter Skinner signed with the Nashville Predators. Kerr moved on to the Wolfpack on an AHL deal, and Leo Luth is going home to play overseas. With those losses, there are some young players that are going to be added to the roster, and I want to take a moment to introduce them a little bit to you. Justin Carbonell, the 19th overall selection in the 2025 draft, is ready to arrive. In 202 regular season games in the QMJHL, he has 133 goals, 115 assists for 248 points. In 33 playoff games, he has 33 points. In the brief time we saw him at the playoff run, he seemed to have really good skating ability and looked almost pro-ready. He should see time, in my opinion, in Springfield, but maybe one of the first ones called up, if needed, with the St. Louis Blues outside of Otto Stenberg. Adam Jiricek was selected 16th overall in 2024. Jiricek is the future defenseman that they need. A speedy D-man, quick on his skates, and at 6'2", 185, he could use a little bit of muscle to get built in the offseason. In the few games that he played in the AHL, he did look at home defensively, but could stand the tutelage of Calle Rosen. I also believe that he could start the year in Springfield this season, and I think he'll be here for the majority of it. Adam Jecko. Jecko was drafted 95th overall in 2024, and in 3 seasons in the WHL, he has 38 goals and 78 assists for 116. All the scouting reports praise his offensive play and size, but say he needs to work on defense and his consistency. He is up in the air on whether he comes to Springfield or plays another year in the WHL. But if he comes to Springfield, he is a young centerman to add to the mix. As of the time of this recording, he was on the roster for the Springfield Thunderbirds, but may still be optioned back to the juniors before it's too late. Arsenij Koromislav is the 6'5" defenseman that was selected 120th overall in 2022. Not a prolific point producer, but a solid defenseman. Koromislav will need to add some muscle to his 181-pound frame, but he should be a nice pair as a third deep pair. He is known for his calm play and ability to clear the zone when under duress. May never see high points totals, but seems to be able to give high-quality minutes. Lucas Fisher, who was selected 56th overall in 2025, is the son of Detroit Red Wing great Gary Fisher. At 6'3", 185, he has good positioning and has the ability to produce points. If needed, the scouts say that he even has above-average reach and mobility to close gaps and surprise opponents with his long strides and speeds. He did play 4 games for the T-Birds back in 2024-2025, but was sent back to the juniors before it was too late and since scored 44 points in 65 games. There are other players that will enter their first full season in the AHL, but we have more than a snack size for them. Colin Ralph was a pleasant surprise and a big boy defender. Felix Trudeau should get more time this season to show why he was a machine in college. Quentin Burns, if healthy, is a solid 2D man. The offseason was a busy one for the Blues with additions like Mason McTavish, Brandon Carlo, and Connor McMichael. The interesting part of the whole offseason, though, was Oscar Sundqvist. The forward was signed to a 1-year deal, but a 2-way deal. This tells me that they may try and send him to Springfield for next season and use Dylan Dubé in his spot. But that's only my opinion. Let me know what you think about the possibility of our young kids coming up. Let me know in the comments below who you would add or subtract to this list. Next season is coming soon, and there's going to be a lot of things to think about. Let's hash them up. For starters, let's talk about who will be on the Thunderbirds for the start of next season and what the T-Birds may look like going to the NHL. I see Dylan Dubé making the Blues. Even if he's a 13th forward and a filler, I don't think they want to waste their signing as he is waiver eligible. And if he goes on waivers because of his performance next year, I believe he's going to get scooped up. They really like Theo Lindstein up in St. Louis. With only 6 defensemen currently on the big club, they are going to more than likely add him to the mix. He had earned his play through tough minutes. His statistics may look bad, but the whole D-corps last year had issues. Another player likely to see the start of the NHL, if the Sundqvist thing happens, is Otto Stenberg. Otto played well for the Blues before the Olympic break and put up 10 points in 32 games. He could fill the void left by Sonny coming down. As a friendly reminder, though, I have no inside connections with the Thunderbirds, so these predictions coming up are completely random. Let's talk starting lineups. The combos may be endless, but let's play this game. There's a slew of defensemen that will be making the team, and some are going to end up going to the Worcester Railers. I see Fisher possibly being one of them going to the Railers and being developed if injury may happen. The top defenseman pair for me is going to be Calle Rosen and Adam Yurchek. Put the vet with a new prospect. No offense to Koromislav or Ralph or Fisher, Yurchek is the one they want to develop sooner than later. Pairing 2 will probably be Burns and Bouchinger, and the third pairing would be Gaudette and Koromislav. Again, my opinion. The forward lines are where it gets rough. The top line could be Wagner centering Kastamaki and Carbon. Line 2 could be Otto Stenberg centering Karchik and Peterson. The third line could be Dean with Tynan and Trudeau. The final line would be Jekko centering Stotzel and Susuev. Simon Robertson and Cale Kessie would be the subs. If Sundqvist is coming to the Thunderbirds, you should see him center the second line, but with Stenberg and Peterson on the wings. The other line change would be moving Karchik for Susuev on the fourth line. This would mean that Susuev or Robertson would have to go to the Railers. I think Robertson will stay and Susuev will get more time in the ECHL. Whatever the line combos are, and there's a lot of possibility, the only one that really knows what he wants and what's good for the team will be Coach Steve Ott. I would like them to keep Karchik and Petey together as they played really well last season, and I would love to see more out of Stotzel this season to see him move forward with his development. The goaltenders, obviously, are going to be Cranley and Romanov splitting up equal time, which they should. Both of them have earned them, especially Romanov with that magical moments that he had during the entire playoff run last year. There are a lot of centermen, a lot of line combinations, and a lot of possibilities. We don't know how the Preseason's going to look. We don't know who's coming out of training camp doing what. All we can do is guess and check and hope for the best. I do know that with the talent that we have coming in, our boys are primed for a magical run as long as every piece clicks into the puzzle the way they're supposed to click in. Well, let me know what you think in the comments below. The lines, despite the numbering, is typically evenly rotated, except the fourth line will see a little bit more time after penalty kill and power play situations. Who would you keep? Who would you put in? How would your lines look? Let's take a peek in the comments down below. There's way too much time between now and the start of the season. There's a lot of time to reflect and predict the unknown. We will have success or will we have heartache? Only time will tell. Alex Dean is now the general manager of the Blues and has already started tooling the team to how he wants it. The additions of McTavish, McMichael, and Carlo could see players like Walker, Toropchenko, and Tucker gone at the end of the season. This would allow more players to go up and more prospects to come in. The possibilities are endless. There's a lot of talent that excites me for next season. Carbonell has been called a skilled scorer and started gathering confidence in the postseason. Yurchek is a speedy defenseman that is quick and can assist on offense. Janko is a big body centerman that loves contact. Tynum is coming back and is an assist legend in the AHL as he is in the top 10 all-time in that stat. Cranley will get his first full season in as well, and that could also be exciting. Steve Rott returning and being able to get the attitude of his team could easily be a positive thing. He changed the culture and attitude in the locker room, and they went a long way. They seemed to get grittier and hungrier than under Konowalchuk, but that was the type of player that Ott was, lived on the edge of the rules and left nothing on the ice. I would not be a good fan if I did not speak my mind on the Matthew Pekka trade. This was a huge hit to the team. Pekka was a 5-year T-Bird and the captain for 3. He was beloved by the fans and his teammates. Whether he requested the trade or whether it was a surprise, no one knows or needs to care. When he returns with the Americans next season, we need to welcome him with open arms and cheer the man we once called El Capitan. This season wasn't without controversy. Luff traded, Alexandrov traded, Pekka traded. The pieces that we got in those deals were Gauthier, Thomas, and Newpower, and all 3 are gone. Despite Alexandrov being a talented forward, he seemed to just going through the motions at the start of the year. Luff wanted to go home to Canada, and the Hamilton Hammers are close enough to home. And the Pekka trade will always be a head-scratcher, but regardless, they're all coming. We will have 7 rookies on the team next year, with Carbonell, Yurchek, Janko, Kormyslov, Fisher, Ralph, and Trudeau. Yes, I know that all but Kormyslov and Janko have games, but because they were all on amateur tryouts or signed after the junior season was over, they do not have any games counted. There will also be Burns and Cranley making their full season debuts in the AHL. This is something to remember and maybe look forward to. The team is young and will need our support. Fans need to remember that this is a developmental league and not the NHL. These kids will make mistakes. They will be out of position. They will do things that will confuse fans. But this is a place to make those mistakes. We should react accordingly, but not dwell on it. That leads me to the final point of the night. Our fans pack the Thunderdome game in and game out. We love our boys. But sometimes fandom goes too far, and disrespect takes over. Fans ridicule them. On social media, they bash them and tell them to their face they praise them. We need to create an environment that they want to play in, and they want to improve. We proved in the playoffs that we can make the Mass Mutual Center shake. This should be every night. Let's make these kids feel right at home. I know I'm ready for hockey to start and to be a regular staple on my winter diet. That's all for this episode. I would like to thank W Energy for the sponsor. Visit w.gg and use coupon code CODEBREAKER. Links in the comment below for 10% off your order. We would also like to thank Providence Street Recordings for assisting the recording of this podcast. We would also like to invite our fans to follow Birds and Blues on all social media platforms. We would like to thank Dave's Logos Design and Apparel for custom hockey jerseys, hats, and more. Link down below for them. We look forward to the next episode where we can take a peek to the defensive core and give our realistic expectations for that group. Have a fantastic day and or night, fans. And we will see you next time on Birds and Blues. I am your host, Dan Mason.